We're often told to eat our vegetables and that they're good for us and help make us strong. But is there a difference between vegetables? Can we get the same nutrients eating canned vegetables as we would eating fresh vegetables? My name is Anwan, and I would like for you to come take a journey with me as we explore canned vegetables versus fresh vegetables.
Question of the day is, do you prefer canned vegetables or fresh vegetables, and why?
I would say for me, I prefer fresh vegetables. The canned vegetables sometimes have extra salt, they have other additives, they have extra sugar that I really don't need, it's not really good for me.
I always prefer fresh vegetables just because I was spoiled when my grandma would let me pick the fresh vegetables in the summer, and frankly, canned vegetables always taste metally.
Well, I think that canned vegetables are more convenient. It's a little bit cheaper to purchase when you go into the store. And I do eat them a lot, especially at home, but I do prefer fresh vegetables.
Then I'm a canned vegetable kind of gal. So I like canned because, like she said, it's very convenient, and living on campus, I don't have time to go cut up some vegetables.
I would much rather have fresh vegetables because I grew up in a family where we actually grew some of our own vegetables, and it is so nice to especially feel a crunch and like that kind of thing, and canned vegetables doesn't feel like it's good enough. Like whenever I eat it, my body is like, you sure about that?
I prefer fresh vegetables because canned vegetables, it's not really good if it's in a can. And I heard that last year research, it showed that canned stuff can cause like Alzheimer's and whatnot.
Yeah, and I know it stores a lot of salt and other processed things that we don't need in our bodies. So yeah, I would say fresh vegetables as well.
I prefer the taste of fresh vegetables.
Would prefer fresh vegetables, but being a mother of a 3-year-old and 6-year-old, as far as portion preference is concerned, I prefer canned because it's much quicker to make, and it lasts longer. And so when you want to talk about shelf life and things like that, and when you get fresh vegetables, they tend to go bad quicker.
Although we as Americans say we prefer fresh vegetables over canned vegetables, according to the CDC online, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, just 1 in 10 adults meet the federal fruit or vegetable recommendations. Why is this? I decided to reach out to some health professionals, a farmer, and store worker who could hopefully answer the question, is there a difference between fresh vegetables or canned vegetables?
I'm Kevin Brumfield. I'm the produce manager at Rosewood Market. I've been at Rosewood Market for about 30 years. I think it's important for us to have fresh vegetables and support local farming just because it's better. Fresh produce is sweeter.
I prefer fresh vegetables over canned because number one, if it's fresh, it has not been processed, it's not being pre-packaged in a container that has pesticides or other contaminants. A lot of items go into preserving something on the shelf that go beyond just the salt.
So the biggest difference between canned vegetables and fresh vegetables is the sodium content. So the sodium, or the salt is another way of looking at it, preserves the food in the cans, whereas fresh foods have to be refrigerated. So that's the biggest difference. You know, the sodium in the canned vegetables, if we eat too much of it, it has been linked to things like high blood pressure or hypertension, so we have to be cautious there. However, sometimes, if you're on a budget and all you can afford is that canned item, then I'm happy that people just eat any vegetables. Of course, I'd encourage them to rinse it off to try and get off some of the sodium from it, but generally speaking, the other nutrients in there are about the same between the fresh, the frozen, and the canned.
I decided to do my own research because I also have some of the same reservations about canned vegetables like some of the people I interviewed. So I went online and looked up the telephone number to the Del Monte Food Corporation. I contacted their corporate office in San Francisco, California. I spoke to Chris in customer service, and he said the company couldn't do a phone interview, but he did lead me to the Del Monte's website, which is Del Monte Food, Inc. The first thing I noticed when I went online was they spoke about their growers, about the quality of their products, and its sustainability. I was impressed. They spoke about being passionate, about cultivating quality vegetables, having a seed program that requires less water and pesticides, non-GMO fruits and vegetables, non-GMO corn, BPA-free cans. They said they were committed to quality and operating with integrity, having lower sodium and no sodium vegetables. This was good information that I needed to see. It was something I needed to have so I can have the right information and make an informed decision when I'm choosing to eat fruits or vegetables, whether they are canned or whether they are fresh.
Good morning, this is Kathy and Garrett with Livingston Farms. It's a small family farm, and we try to provide affordable variety of fresh fruit and produce.
Of fresh vegetables, what are the benefits?
They have less salt and preservatives in the fresh vegetables versus the canned. I feel that we are more affordable and more convenient because we're out where the people are. We provide a box up to 12 pounds for $10, which is cheaper than most things in the grocery store.
I decided to end my journey back at Columbia College because we have a fresh community garden with lots of different vegetables that's free for faculty and students to partake of. I wanted to talk to John Long, who is the horticulturalist at Columbia College, and ask his opinion about fresh vegetables versus canned vegetables.
So this garden is, I think, important in a number of ways. The flavor of picking something straight from the garden, straight to the table, and the nutrients that you get from that. Well, to me, there's no substitute from picking a fresh vegetable like this snow pea and eating it immediately. The nutrition that's in what I just ate versus something that's in a can that's been cooked, put in water, and sodium that's in most canned vegetables is more than you need. And the gratitude and really the satisfaction of growing something and being able to eat it versus having a can that you have to recycle at the end of it.
I hope you've enjoyed this journey with me as we viewed canned vegetables versus fresh vegetables. There were many different opinions expressed about both types of vegetables. But at the end of the day, I believe both vegetables will continue to coexist in most people's diets. I will admit that I still prefer fresh vegetables over canned, but it will not stop me from eating my homemade hummus, which I use canned chickpeas. Despite the differences in opinions, the most important thing for us to do is eat our proper daily serving of vegetables.